Hello, welcome to Veritas. I'm your host, Adam Colazetti, and I'm here to guide you on a meditative adventure like no other. Join me and lose yourself in your imagination as we travel the outer reaches of the cosmos, quest for powerful talismans, and explore the inner realm of your subconscious. What might you find along the way? But be warned, fair traveler, this path is not for the faint of heart. On this path, of one thing I am certain, dragons be here. Are you ready? So how we're going to begin is you're going to sit comfortably, however that means to you. It could be legs crossed, could be sitting in a chair, whatever it is, sit somewhere comfortably that you feel relaxed and comfortable. And you're going to close your eyes and you're going to take 3 deep breaths. Deep breath in, count to 4. Deep breath out, count to 4. And each time you exhale, you're going to try and relax your body a little bit further. So you're going to inhale, pause, exhale. Pause. So as you're doing this and you're relaxing, it's in those pauses between breaths where we're going to go. That is where your creativity meets your imagination, meets your subconscious. So let's see what awaits you in the spaces between breaths. Hang on. Hang on. Like a broken record, this phrase repeats in your head over and over and over as you come back to consciousness. At some point, you must have passed out. Begrudgingly, you open your eyes. Both of your hands are still gripping on the edge of a rock. The sun is blaring down and you are lying face down. The small cave that you crawled in is now considerably larger. Huge chunks of rock and dirt have been pulled out. You lift your head and arch your back, which cracks. With a sigh, you relax. That actually felt pretty good. Your fingers, however, don't want to release. They're locked and cracked into position. How long did you hang on here for? You don't want to know. Then with a gasp, you remember the creatures from the night before. This gets you moving, and you force your hands off the rock and retreat away from your cave into the embrace of the outside world. Your fingers are deformed claws that you try to slowly straighten one by one. Painful, but it works, and the blood flows back into your joints. Did you really hang on all night? How you managed to pull that off, you'll never know, but you did. You stand up and wipe the dirt and grime off your clothes. At this point, you're not even sure it's worth bothering. Your clothes are ripped, and the original coloring is no longer apparent. Still, the ritual makes you feel somewhat human. Your lips are dry, though, and you recall how thirsty you are. Your stomach growls. It seems that the intensity of an adrenaline-fueled night has left you tired, sore, and hungry. And wouldn't you know it, there's a puddle left over from the storm. The water looks clear enough, and pushing aside thoughts of who knows what type of infection, you immediately splay out on your stomach and immerse your face. The water is cool and refreshing, even if it tastes a little weird. Once you've had your fill, you sit up and survey your surroundings. Still just rock. You feel the hopelessness swell up inside you again, but then you push it back down. Whatever. Self 1, storm 0. Take that. With the start, you remember Phobos and Deimos. Looking down the edge of the canyon in both directions, you see if you can find them. You can't. Are they still alive? You would certainly like to talk to them and find out what they know. Sighing, you set out and walk along the canyon floor looking for a way to climb up. Seriously, did you really just throw yourself down here? The edges don't seem easily climbable. The rock is a sort of smooth shell. You walk for a while in one direction and don't see much. At one point you see what looks like a gnarly root growing out of the ground and winding its way up the side of the canyon edge. It's wide and looks strong. You can climb that, you think? So you step forward and put your hands on it and try to hoist yourself up, only to sharply pull your hand away, revealing a nasty cut. Huge thorns an inch long stick out of this root in random places, spaced approximately 12 inches apart. Seriously, there's got to be better, something easier. Frustrated, you start walking back the way you came. Even more frustrating is your hand is now bleeding. Blood drips from your fingertips, but you're past caring. For a moment you wonder what you must look like. Scratches on your arms, legs, and face. Dirt, dust, and blood caked all over, like something out of a horror movie. But you're still here, so there's that. Then you stop dead. Your random thoughts suddenly focusing on a single thing. Why does a root need such large thorns? What is it protecting itself from? This sudden, deafening realization stops you in your tracks. Could it be those creatures from the cave? No, they were too small. You need to get out of here. Frantically, you start running. You're not even sure which direction, but at some point, you end up back at the cave where you started. Progress, though, you have learned something. But how is that going to help you get out of here? And why are you stuck in this stupid red planet with its weird gravity? And that stupid extra moon? Frustrated, you feel the anger well up inside you. You want to go home, lie down, and sleep for a week in your own bed. Tears well up in your eyes, and in that moment you feel all the pain, all the hurt, all the fear, frustration. It just wells out. But it's not just the physical pain, is it? So much emotion. You look up into the sky and scream at the world. You yell. You grab some dust, a handful of rock, and throw it. This is a full-on tantrum. Visions of your life and the people in it and your mistakes and all the things that led to you being here right now just come pouring out. It is well-deserved, perhaps. Nothing but silence responds as your screams echo up and down the canyon, as if mocking you. With one last scream, you grab a handful of dirt and rock and hurl it back into the cave, your chest heaving. The rocks bounce and careen off various surfaces before finally coming to a stop. That was farther than you thought. A pause. Wait. How deep does that thing go? You take a half step to go investigate, but then you hear it. A deafening roar. Something primal. Something terrible. A booming, throaty growl screams from somewhere far back in the cave entrance. It is enough to paralyze you with fear. That is not the creature you were dealing with yesterday. This is something older, more terrible. It roars again, closer now, and with that you decide not to wait around to find out. And your legs are moving before your mind even becomes aware of it. Your primal response makes you hyper-focused. The only way up and out of here you can think of is the root vine that you found before. You're in full sprint now, and it actually seems like you were starting to get the hang of running in this gravity. You fly across the canyon floor, not daring to look behind you. Behind you, there is a shattering explosion and the sound of rock raining down like hail. Whatever just exploded out of that cave was bigger than the entrance. You reach the vine and throw yourself against it, feeling the thorns scrape your thighs, your stomachs, your arm. Never mind that now. You start climbing frantically, trying to place your hands around the thorns, pulling yourself up. Actually, they more or less work as good footholds if you're careful. Regardless, blood starts to drip down your arms and legs, and multiple scratches tear your skin. You make it about 10 feet up and then stop. It's quiet. Too quiet. You risk a look back. A quick look up and down the canyon reveals nothing, just stillness. Where did it go? Is it not coming anymore? But then there's a boulder, a giant rock, sitting just below where you started climbing the vine. Was that there before? It's probably 2 feet in diameter. You wouldn't have missed something that large. And then what do you see but another rock rolling down the flat canyon as if out for a stroll? Then there is another and another. Then pebbles, rocks, boulders of all shapes and sizes seem to be conglomerating in a single spot and climbing all over each other as if coming together like Lego. Never mind, you think. Keep climbing. Nothing surprises you anymore, but you don't want to wait around to find out. You frantically climb further, and finally you switch tactics. You get a good foothold and just jump. The lighter gravity allows you to sail 4 to 5 feet in the air before you grab the next branch. Climbing. Jumping. Looks like you're halfway out now, maybe more. You risk a quick look down. It looks like the rocks are piling on top of each other. Something is forming out of them, and you can start to make out a torso and what looks like limbs. You hear a low growl as the face begins to form. Whatever these rocks are creating, it's coming, and it doesn't sound happy. Frantically now, you start leaping with more abandon, less caution. A few times you miss your grip and fall back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But you're frantic now, you're not thinking straight. You're making progress though, 3/4 of the way up, 4/5. You're almost there. Finally, you reach the top, pull yourself up and roll off the vine onto your back. There is blood everywhere. Your shirts and pants are shredded. You roll over and look over the edge. There's something down there, but it's hard to see. And then a roar and a scream as it emerges from the darkness, climbing straight up the side of the canyon wall. It looks like an insect with multiple legs and a long tail. Sharp pincers made of rock snap as it climbs. It's climbing the rock by simply smashing its limbs into the rock and creating its own footholds. Here it comes. Its horrible features becoming more evident the longer you stare. Time to go. Rolling over, you sit up and then run. So much running. It occurs to you to check your surroundings. To the right, there is nothing. But to the left, there's a figure running just like you. Holy crap, it looks like Phobos made it. Perhaps Deimos didn't survive the storm. Still, you're running and there is a rock monster climbing up the wall after you. Ahead of you, the cliff face you saw from so far away is closer now, maybe 200 yards away. You're running as fast as you can and you don't dare look behind you. At one point, there is a crushing roar, crash, and scream. That would be the rock monster ascending the top of the canyon. It's coming, and by the sounds of it, it is closing fast. 100 yards? Just run. Just move forward. Get out of here. What will you do when you get to the bottom of the cliff? Doesn't matter. Just get there. 50 yards, 20. With a final leap forward, you collide against the face of the rock wall and frantically search around for a handhold. Anything. Above you, the ascent is easily 100 feet high. You thought the canyon was high. This is higher, at least twice as much. You can't jump it. You need a place to climb. You look for a vine. Anything. There's nothing. Panicking, you turn around. You can see a cloud of red dust billowing up. Something wicked this way comes. With a curse, you turn back around and begin rubbing your hands all over the edge of the wall looking for anything, some sort of something. And then you find grooves. They seem familiar. You've seen them before. It's a rune. Quickly now, you brush all the rock and dust off to reveal its rune. It's large, approximately half a meter. There's a series of them. As before, you push your hands and they light up and the meaning comes clear to you. A series of emotions and images fill your mind. This time you're looking into the eyes of the great dragon you saw in the storm. It is impossibly huge. You stand before it so close its breath heats your face. Its eyes are black and glossy, and in them you see your own reflection falling, and you lose yourself in that beautiful abyss. A memory of your childhood surfaces, and you are content to watch it play out. Ironically, it is the roar of the rock monster behind you that snaps you out of it and saves your life. Spinning around with your back to the rock, you see the monster in all its horrible glory for the first time. It stops about 20 feet from you and roars in your face. It looks like a giant scorpion. Huge rock boulders make up its body. Smaller rocks form a sharp tail that curls over its torso, with and above its body. There are 3 legs on each side, ending in sharp spikes, jagged rocks, and a head or face forming what looks like a mouth in which house sharp, jagged teeth. There are no eyes of any sort, but you can tell it is looking at you. With a roar, it kicks up dust and rock as it paws the ground. It wants you. The beast lunges for it, and you leap far enough that the monster collides with the rock wall with a crack, like 2 rocks smashing together. You run along the edge of the rock wall looking for anything. At some point, you just stop and start jumping up, grasping for some sort of handhold or something. There's nothing. The edge of the wall is smooth like a shell, like a slate. It's not easily climbable. Frantic, not knowing what to do, you turn back to the wall and look up, looking for any kind of handhold. There. Something seems to be jutting out of the smooth surface. You take a run and try and jump for it, but in your panic, you misjudge. You've gone too fast, and your momentum carries you too far, and you land in a heap. The rock monster is only 20 feet away and is pulling itself together after its collision with the rock wall. You have seconds, maybe. Frantically, you look up, trying to find the ledge. There it is. Pause. Jump again. This time you fall short and again fall back to the ground, wasting precious time. Deep breath. For a moment, you imagine the beast from your vision, the one that told you to run. You also remember what else it told you. This refocuses you, and with a final push, you bend your legs and leap. This is it. Life, death, all of it down to a single burst of energy. The whole scene plays out in slow motion. The rock monster untangling itself and pivoting to reach for you. You jumping higher than you ever have in your life and soaring through the air just as the rock monster's pinchers grab empty air where you were moments before. There, your hand grabs the ledge and you hang, swinging back and forth. Your ribs hurt fiercely enough to remind you of your earlier injury. Awkwardly, you swing your other arm up to grab with both hands. The first 2 tries you miss, but finally you're able to grab hold. Below you, the rock monster leaps and falls short, snarling in frustration. Again and again, it jumps for you and lands just shy of your feet. How long can you hang on for? You look around frantically for more handholds. There are none. The cliff face is smooth and unclimbable. It seems hopeless. There's nowhere to go and only a matter of time before you fatigue or the monster finds a way up. You don't realize it, but you're crying. Hopeless tears of frustration and loneliness leak out of your eyes, and you rest your cheek against the vertical wall. Once again, you are surprised to see Phobos. It looks like they are also hanging from a cliff, escaping their own rock monster, still a few hundred yards away. Briefly, you wonder who they are. Phobos' monster leaps and seems to connect with their feet, and just like that, your only companion falls and is gone in a heap of dust and destruction. You never met them, but somehow you felt connected. You close your eyes and feel a sense of helplessness building inside of you. It's too much. You should just let go and be done with it. You close your eyes and just wait for it to end. But then an image pops into your mind, a memory from your childhood. Somebody is leaning over you, telling you not to give up. Just try again. That little push is all it takes, and that same feeling you had when the storm was thrashing your body comes alive. That stirring in your belly, that sureness, that innate belief in your own abilities begins to rise, and there, clinging desperately to avoid certain doom, you open your eyes. It's not over yet. Hello and welcome to Veritas. Today we're talking about Mars episode 3, titled Monsters and Memories. I have here Artin with me. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, definitely check him out. Artin is the man behind the camera. He gets to experience all this craziness long before it's released online. So who better than to have on the first episodes here? Welcome, Artin.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you. No, it's a privilege. Thanks.
We've been talking about Mars. Mars is all about masculine energy, kind of the warrior, kind of the battle. When you think about Mars or Ares, the god of war, in literature or astronomy and all that kind of stuff, it's war, but it means to an end. It's war in the pursuit of peace. Mm-hmm. So it's not just violence for the sake of it. Artin, first impressions of episode 3, but first we're gonna draw a card here. We have our trusty animal cards. Here you go. If you'll shuffle them if you want.
Yeah.
Grab whichever one.
All right. And we got
blank card.
Oh, a blank one. Interesting.
That must be an extra.
Oh, okay.
I just got that, yeah.
It's the Joker card of the deck.
Okay.
All right, let's try that.
Right.
Next card.
What do we got? Oh, again. That's the second time you drew that.
Yeah.
The first time, do you remember what it was? It was all about like feminine energy,
yeah.
about like grace and beauty and
I almost feel like it makes sense because like you mentioned, this is all about war.
Yeah.
This episode and astronomy, but you almost need to find the inner peace and calmness, right? So maybe this card has a further meaning.
Maybe it's balance there that we're looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. I did not expect two to come out like that, especially because I've been shuffling them like crazy. So very cool. So monsters and memories, first impressions.
Yeah, definitely. I felt like even though you're trying to get out of a certain situation you're in, it almost seemed like you need to go through the pain and fear to become a better person overall. So there's a greater meaning definitely behind it, and I feel like those monsters appearing, especially the one with the 3 legs and the insect and the great stone titan that was forming, was just developing points in your life. And I feel like it's almost like a challenge of just, again, finding that balance of just getting out of that situation, right? So definitely something to be like feared, but there's definitely a greater meaning behind it. I feel like you have to experience pain for growth.
Ooh, I like that. It's profound. Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely wanted to create a scenario in which you don't have time to think, you just have to act. And it hurts and it's terrible and you're scared, but you're just moving forward because you have no other choice. Yeah. So to keep you in that fight or flight state of mind,
adrenaline,
as long as possible, and push you, like really push you past any boundaries, self-imposed or otherwise. That was kind of my thinking. What did you think about, there was a moment there where we were talking about a memory of your childhood, or like a memory came to you or whatever. Is there any specific memory that popped into your head?
I think it's almost a reminder of finding your inner peace.
Yeah.
Going back to a memory that kind of calms you. So when you're experiencing something challenging, or you're lost and you just don't have an answer to what you need to do, it's almost like you resort back to a memory that can align you and smooth you out to have a clearer thinking. So I feel like that memory that you grasp onto it felt soothing. So it felt like you needed that just reminder of who you are, because you don't want to put into your head that you can't do this. If you just remind yourself that you're capable of doing something, then it's almost like your body responds more appropriately. Even right now, talking on camera, if I told myself I wouldn't be able to do this, I don't feel comfortable, you're going to have all these negative thoughts that will get you further away from your greater purpose. But telling yourself that you can do this and believing in it and never thinking that you can't do something, that's like almost the wall that you hit with no surface, right? So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's seeing metaphor all over the place. Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, if you've listened to the episode and you come to that part where you're thinking about, you know, a childhood memory when you're lost in the dragon's eyes and all that kind of stuff, it's always interesting to reflect on what image came to your head, like just popped into your mind, whatever it was. Second question. At one point, it was revealed that the beast that tackled you and told you to run whispered something else in your ear. Did anything come to mind? What else did it tell you?
So yeah, I feel like that whisper was almost to find the message you were seeking. And I feel like, yeah, climbing through those vines, you need to go through that hardship to remind you what's greater on the other side.
Ooh, I love that. That's pretty awesome, right? Make it worth it, being chased by a rock monster, scorpion.
Lessons along
right?
the way.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose the lessons you've learned.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And then last question for you. You know, you're hanging from the rock. You got this scorpion rock monster trying to kill you, and then over there you see the other guy that was there with you, and then he falls. And then how did you think? What did you feel when they fell?
I feel like, again, you can relate to the fight and flight. I feel like it was almost a mirror of myself, is what I was almost seeing.
Yeah.
Even though, was his name Phobo?
Phobos, yeah.
Yeah, Phobos. Even though it looked different to me and it was just a different being, it's almost like it was a reflection of me. And seeing myself fall pushed me to not get there, pushed me to keep going, right? So almost envisioning the dark side of things made me stronger to get through it, right?
Okay.
So.
All right. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed the first 3 episodes so far.
Oh yeah, greatly.
Next episode is the final in this Mars series entitled Your True Self. So, you know, it feels like maybe you're on the money here somewhere. But yeah, stay tuned next week for the final episode in this Mars series. Hopefully you enjoy.
Awesome. Let's get there.
Join me each week as a new chapter unfolds. What worlds will we explore next? What gods and monsters will we find? What part of yourself will awaken? Only one way to find out.